with money. I found it very interesting how many words have dual meanings when it comes to money, and how those dual meanings have to do with something that's actually important, like to charge someone. Charge is associated with electrical energy. Capital. How much capital do you have? The capital originally was the most important city in your community. Scarcity, interest. Like if you have interest in something, it means you pay attention to it. I'm interested in that. I'm interested. And then you have liability, which is interesting because it sounds like liability. Credit, debt. Socially, you would say, I'll give you credit for that. Oh, I'm in your debt. Because before money, it wasn't barter. It was a system of trust. It was a system of knowledge. You just knew other people. And you had this unspoken thing about doing favors for each other. And I'll get to that. Profit and profit. The profits of God, the profits of a corporation. And they're just spelled differently, but they sound the same. Taxing, to tax someone, is to wear them down. Salary originally comes from salt. Bondage, bond, like the bond market, to be bonded, in bondage. It means to be a slave. Stock, you have the stock market, and it was once the live stock market. Now it's a sigil, it's a piece of paper. And it's beyond paper. It's the digital copy of the paper that's mimicking reality. And you can see that now with the iCloud and the Ethernet cable and all these words that are the mimic of the original. And the original, of course, is the base reality that we live in. If you even look at economic, eco means nature, like ecology, eco, your environment. And what does nomic mean? I think nomic means the set of rules. So the rules to the environment is your economic policy. But in reality, the rules to the environment are the laws of physics, and they never change. The economy, the economics, the laws of your environment, the laws of reality is a mimic. It's a copy. And so what is a dollar? Well, first off, you have gold and silver. And here's a silver eagle. This was once a dollar in America. And silver has realistic properties in reality. It's the most conductive metal in the world. More than copper, more than gold. This conducts electricity really, really well. It's one reason why it's quote unquote going up in value as compared to the dollar, is because so much silver is used in solar panels and electric vehicles and batteries and whatnot. But that was once money. This is actually money. This is an ounce of gold. And right now that's worth $4,400. And this is legal tender. This is money. Currency, I'll show you what currency looks like. Well, and then this is 10 ounces of silver. So this is just silver as a commodity versus silver as a state dollar. And then of course, this is the fiat. This is the $1. So I'm going to explain it in a way. I've been talking about money for years because it is so correlated with morality, with God, with religion, with behavior, with everything. And the tricks and the lies and the sneaks in the financial system is the center of wizardry. And that's why today's chapter, I hope you guys get a lot out of it. But I'm going to try and explain it in a way that's very understandable. So this is a coat check. All right. So let's say there was a time when people wanted somewhere to hold their dollars. Like if one of these is $1, that gets very, very heavy. $16 would be a pound. $160 is for a big family. I mean, not even a big family, is barely a grocery store trip sometimes. And that would be 10 pounds. So imagine a woman carrying around 10 pounds, so I understand. And then there'd be robbery and people would steal it and whatnot. And so the original deal was, I give you my silver coin and you give me a certificate. And at any point I can get back my silver. And that's why it was called a certificate, a silver certificate or a note. Of course, that's all changed, but we'll start at the beginning. And so this is a contract with a man. And so understand how this works. So how did it get so corrupted, and what is fractional reserve banking, all that stuff. So let's start with the coat check. You go to a party. Let's say you live in a very cold part of the world. I went to college right near Canada, like near Montreal, and it was freezing. And you go into a party or you go into a bar or a restaurant and you'd have some big coat on. And eventually somebody said, you don't want to be burdened with that coat. Why don't you give me the coat while you eat and I'll give you a ticket. And when you leave, you give me the ticket and I'll give you your coat. And I will just take a small fee just for the service. And people were ecstatic. So you gave someone your coat and they gave you a ticket. And that's what the ticket looked like. And then you go in and you start to dance. And you were having a blast. And just like Schrodinger's cat, if you don't observe the fact that your coat is being sold, you don't know what happened yet. And then the question, well, has it happened if you haven't observed it? Of course, the answer is yes. But I know that people like to hypothesize. Like the cat was dead. Like Schrodinger can say whatever he wants. If the cat was alive or dead, it doesn't matter if he looks at it or not. I think he was just killing a lot of cats. But so as you're dancing away, the coats are getting less and less because the gentleman that is taking your coat is now selling coats. So he doesn't have enough coats. He's given out 200 tickets and now there's only one coat. And that was the original ETF for the fractional reserve. Now it's zero a lot of times. Many times it's literally zero. So as the party's going and no one needs their coat, no one notices. But then the party ends and outside is a tundra. You're in freezing area. You need a coat. You don't need a ticket. And no matter how many times the people say, well, your ticket is as good as a coat, because that's what they would say this. It's good as gold. The dollar is as good as gold. And it's never a good sign when your monetary policy is based on a simile. As. No, gold is gold. Silver is silver. That piece of paper is a contract. And so as the people stop dancing and they go try and get their coats and they realize that there are no more coats, they freeze or they riot or whatever. And the guy is long gone. He's out the back door. And so what did this become? That already happened a long time ago. So in 1971, we got off the gold standard with it. They don't even pretend that there's a coat. Before 1971, there was still this illusion that there was a coat. And Vietnam is what really revealed that, because France wanted their gold and America didn't have it. So then the Vietnam War kicked off, or America didn't want to give it up. Like, imagine if they still have the coats and they're like, I'd rather have the coat than the ticket. And that's why in a village, like let's say you live in this area, and it's like in a small village where everybody knows each other, or there's at least a communal homogeny, like some kind of culture, some kind of shared history, some kind of shared knowledge. You don't really have this problem, because most economics, most of the laws of the environment are just based around social obligations. And you could have a functioning economy without any money. It wasn't barter. It was originally told to me that someone, well, I have a chicken and I need a boot. And if somebody doesn't need a chicken and have an extra boot, then I don't know what to do. That isn't what it was. It would be like, hey man, can you help me get this cow in? My cow ran away. Can you help me? Yeah, sure, no problem. And then, oh, see you around. And then that other guy would be like, hey man, can you help me dig this well? Yeah, no problem. That was it. It would just be like, but if somebody, I don't feel like helping you. And then somebody else would be like, I don't either. What created the need for money was actually a way for rulers to inflict pain on the population, but it was asked for. So let's say people just can't get along. That's why the rise of money is the rise of immorality. Because let's say people just can't seem to get along. And they desire revenge. And the eye for an eye thing can really decimate a population. So what happened was, like if somebody stole a cow from someone and the cow died, and the guy was like, I don't know what to tell you, the cow died, I'm sorry. And the guy was like, no, I require more than that. The ruler would then say, give him another cow. I don't have another cow. So the first money standardization was something that the rulers could extract from the population. Then of course, taxes became part of that, where you were obligated to pay X amount in this, and that kind of showed that you were part of the group. It was pain. It was just a way to stabilize the pain that people wanted to inflict on each other. And that's why I'm not anti-government. When there's a monopoly on force, it's actually a net positive typically. And many times all the time, the government reflects the morality and the will of the people, because if not, they get overthrown. And so a really corrupt government usually reflects a really corrupt people. But what happened was, after we got off the gold standard, and there was no illusion that you were going to get any metal back, and metal does have inherent properties that make it valuable. Same with salt. Salt wasn't just about having your food taste good. It was about preserving your meat over the winter. Preserving food required salt. Salt was hard to come by. And so salt was many times people's salaries. And it never went bad. You could keep salt forever, just like honey. Honey was like that too. But metal and gold became more like that when it came to, now electronics a lot, but when it came to jewelry, ornamentation, and it was very hard to get. And that natural choke point allowed it to have scarcity. But now what this is simply a note of the authority. And the best way I can compare that is to stars from your teacher. So we homeschool our kids, and we have a bunch of stickers, and our kids will do anything for the stickers. And if they get their homework done and they do a good job, my wife gives them a sticker. And they start associating that sticker with value. The more stickers they have, the better job they did. And sometimes that can be associated with someone's self-esteem or whatever. And so what can happen is the stickers start being associated with value. There's no different than this. This is a sticker from the teacher called the central bank. And based on your behavior, you're rewarded with these stickers. The idea of killing a man and taking these off him is as absurd as stealing the stickers out of a teacher's desk. Because if you have another teacher, if you go to another school, you might have this. Like, this is a Canadian $5 bill. Now, we live close enough to Canada where this can still be looked at as money. You're like, oh, wow. It's kind of a silly looking bill. They have astronauts on there. That was our PSYOP, not yours, Canada. But it's less valuable to us because we don't have that emotional connection. Now, because you can't use it here. Now, look at this. This is one that doesn't even work anymore. This is 1,000 dinar. This is the central bank of Iraq. This is 25,000 dinar. Like, this is cool. Like, I keep it because it's like interesting. But to me, this, like, if I had a $25,000 bill, I would feel something. I would want to protect it and care for it because it was going to bring me something. This doesn't make me feel that at all. And it might not even, this spell is so old at this point that I don't think there's anyone in the world that would do anything for this versus this, right? And then here you have more like the central bank of the Bahamas. At least that's the queen. You kind of recognize her. It says $1, but this is called a gold-backed note. Now, this is when things get interesting because gold has an inherent value, and every single gold-backed note is 1/1000th of a troy ounce. So when someone gave me this, when they gave it to me, it was worth about $2. Now it's worth about $4.50 in fiat currency because it has the inherent value of gold. And so that's kind of like, here's another one. This is funny because this goes against Islam, but yet this is hilarious. What is this called? It's the Central Bank of the Islamic Republic of Iraq. 100,000 rials. Because in the Quran, it says that you can't have a fiat currency. So that's pretty funny. There's going to be a lot of humor in this one because they're all constructed like jokes. I think that's one reason why I could understand it. But so as the world scaled and got bigger and commerce happened, people required contracts. And a contract is an agreement based on scribbles on a piece of paper. It's detached from reality. But if you have trust, if you have an agreement with a group of people, It's a way to kind of organize deeds. That's why, the currency of the slave is the fiat. The currency of a living man, a free man, is silver. The currency of kings is gold. And the currency of God is life and good deeds. And that's why the deed to your house, I'm telling you, the more you look into the words, the language of this, the more interesting it gets. Like, do you have a deed to your house? So based on the knowledge of good deeds and that moral understanding and honor culture, every separation from that requires more and more enforcement from a central authority. That's why when people complain about the size of the government, that just represents how much people want that. And the more people want to get, again, something for nothing is the original sin. Something for nothing. Fiat, abracadabra, hocus pocus. It's all the same thing. It's that you want something for nothing, or that you don't hold yourself accountable and you don't have authority over yourself. It's always someone else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And if you're in that position, there is a business for you. It's called a government. And it's all fair, because the more you want that, the more that will be provided. Because the way that the world works and the way nature works, echo, is cavitation is one of the strongest forces in the world. Cavitation. All right. And many times in pipes, people are scared of cavitation because a vacuum, emptiness, is actually much. Welcome to another chapter of